What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, and this is Blue Giant Media. We're here to help you find, learn, and play the games that you love. Today, the spotlight is on Seven Wonders Duel. This is designed by Antoine Bauza and Bruno Cathala, two of the giants in the industry, and it is published by Repos Production. We're going to go ahead and get a feel for the rules. I'm going to talk you through a couple of the finer points of the game. Then we'll come right back. We'll talk about what I like, what I don't like, who may like and who may not like this game, so we can kind of sum it all up at the end. To set up Seven Wonders Duel, you will take each of the age 1, 2, and 3 cards. You'll remove 3, set them in the box. For age 3, you will remove 3 of the lighter purple cards, set them in the box, and replace them with 3 of the guild cards into there. You will shuffle each one, shuffle all of these. You will set up the age 1 cards like they are shown here, with 2 face up, 3 face down, 4 face up, 5 face down, 6 face up. Age 2 will go the opposite direction. Age 3 will have 2 face up, 3 face down, 4 face up, 2 face down but in separate lanes, 3 face down and 2 face up. So each phase or age has a little bit of a different setup. Then you are going to give each player 7 coins, and normally you would be setting up or assigning the wonders by taking 4, setting them out, having one player choose 1, the other player chooses 2 of them, then the original player gets 1, set out a new set of 4. Since you chose first the first time, I choose 1, you choose 2, I choose 1. So that each player has 4 wonders. These 4 wonders that each of us have right now are the ones that are recommended for your first game. You'll set the board between the 2 players. You'll set this token in the middle. Preferably you would have the points pointing towards each individual player so that you can get a better visual representation of this tug-of-war of military advance towards each player's capital. Because the game can end in 3 different ways. The game can end at the end of the 3rd age, playing normally, and then the winner is the one who has the most points. And you will score points for the wreath symbols on the blue cards, green cards, yellow cards, purple cards, which score a little bit differently. I'll touch that on that in a little bit. Your wonders, which some of them have points. Then you'll score points if you have any of these tokens that depict points with, again, the wreath symbol. Coins, every 3 coins is a point, so 1 point, still 1 point, now it's 2 points. Military, as you advance, you can score 2 points here. If you make it into the next zone, the opposing player will lose 2 coins immediately, and if you're still there at the end of the game, 5 points. Make it here, the opposing player loses 5 coins immediately, and if you're still there at the end of the game in this region, you'll score 10 points, and if you cross all the way over, boom, game over, winner. The other way that you can win is if you get 6 different science symbols. Then you will win the game immediately because of scientific dominance. Anyway, back to setup. You will have these spots here covered up with these tokens. You will have 5 of the 10 different science tokens set out here, randomly choosing 5, laying them out there, and then you are ready to go. During play, once a start player is chosen, that player is going to choose to take a card. When you take a card, it can be used in 3 different ways. The first is you would pay the cost. In this case, there is no cost. Costs are going to be shown right here, like on this card, which says it costs 3 coins in order to draft that card. Some of them will cost resources, and in the 2nd age, there are some of them that will cost, or not cost, but if you have a card that has this symbol on it in the corner, then that card would be free. So this card right here has this mask symbol on it. This age 2 card says you can either pay 2 bricks, or if you have that card, you build it for free. So that symbol indicates that it has the ability to chain to a card in the next phase or next age for free. So after you choose to pay a cost for a card, you simply add it in front of you I like to keep them in stacks of all the blue cards, all of the brown and gray cards together because they are both resources, just of slightly different types or categories. The green cards all I put together, the red cards together, the yellow cards I put together. Just put everything in columns by the color. Now, that is not the only thing, like I said, that you can do with a card. There are 3 things you can do with a card. You can also take a card and just discard it for coins. The standard going rate is 2 coins, but it is 2 coins plus 1 for every yellow card that you have. So if I've got 1 yellow card, instead of getting 2 coins, I will get 3 coins when I discard a card. And that'll keep going up the more yellow cards you have. Now, whenever you uncover a card, if it's face down or not, that card becomes available. If it's face down, you will also be flipping it over. Now those cards are available to be drafted, as well as actually being visible to both players. So if I were to get this card, nothing new becomes available. Whenever you get, so let's say you get this card, and I know I went a couple extra turns here, but forgive that, imagine it didn't happen. You pay 2 coins for this. Every military symbol will advance this token 1 space. In Age 2, you'll see ones that have 2 symbols on it. In Age 3, you'll see cards that have 2 or 3 symbols on it. And that's going to move it 1, 2, 3. It's going to move you 1 for every single one of these kind of shield and crossed swords symbols. But if you draft that one, it doesn't actually uncover completely a card, so nothing new is uncovered. Let's say I take this one, and I can't afford to pay this. I don't have the resources for it. I can pay 2 coins per resource that I need. But let's say you had this resource. So now the resource that I need, you have 1. That means it's going to cost me an extra 1. If you had 2 of them, it's going to cost me an extra 2. So that would be 4 coins per resource of that type that I need if you had 2 of them. And I don't pay them to you, I pay them all to the bank. So in this case though, I would just pay 2 coins because because you do not have that resource to make it cost more. You don't have like the market cornered, causing scarcity, so it's harder for me to get that resource right now, etc. So then I would take that card, I would put it in front of me. Green cards are just worth points at the end of the game, and they give you a symbol, which, like I said, if you collect 6 different symbols, then boom, game over, you win. There are 7 different symbols in the game, but because you are taking 3 of them out, you may not have 7 different symbols in the game. The other thing is, if you have 2 tokens of or 2 cards with the same science symbol, so in Age 2, if I get another one of these wheel symbols, then I can come over here and take one of these bonus tokens that do various different things. Like this one right here makes it so every blue card that I want to build costs 2 less resources, which is very nice. This card right here, or token right here, counts as 1 extra science symbol of my choice. So that could be one other way to get quickly to that 6 different science symbols. And these are all explained very clearly in this handy dandy rules reference. Alright, so at this point I uncovered 1. Then let's say on your turn you go ahead and pay the 2 to get this one. Now, by getting that though, you uncovered 2 cards. So now I have a little bit more information than I otherwise would have for what to choose to draft on my turn. Alright, so let's kind of artificially fast forward here and give you some resources. Ooh. And some money. Alright, so this is to illustrate the third thing that you can do with a card. Play a card by paying its cost, discard a card, and get 2 coins per card plus 1 for every yellow that you have. The third thing that you can do is you can take a card and you can use it as a kind of a marker to build one of the stages of your wonder. So let's say that you are going to build this one right here. Alright, so you have 1 brick and 1 wood. You will need 1 additional, you can see in the corner there, you'll need 1 additional wood as well as 1 stone. So you're going to have to pay 2 coins and 2 coins. Again, if I had those resources, that would increase the cost for you, but I do not. So it's going to cost you that. But the other thing you got to do is you got to choose a card. Let's say you want to deny me the ability to get more science. So you're going to take this, you're going to turn it face down, you're going to tuck it under here. You will pay any extra cost that you can't cover in your own resources. And actually, I made a mistake. I said that would be 4 coins, 2 cards for the extra wood that you need. That is true. But instead of paying the 2 coins for the the stone that you need, you have this yellow card right here. That makes it so that stone, no matter how many you need, no matter how many I have, even if I had 4 stone here, which normally would increase the cost by 4, you only have to pay 1 coin per stone. So you can save that 1 coin and only have to pay 3 total coins in order to build this Stage of Your Wonder. This Stage of Your Wonder says that you have access now to either 1 papyrus or 1 glass. Now that does not influence the cost for me to trade for those goods later on, or when I need them. It only counts the brown and gray cards that you have. But you have access to that for building your cards in the future. It also lets you take immediately another turn and gives you 2 points. And the cool thing about that extra turn is that there might be a situation where, oh man, I really want this science card. You could take this, build a Stage of Your Wonder that gives you an additional turn, and then take that card that you want. So it can really turn things on their head when you might see, oh man, if I get this one, he's going to get that one, this one, that one, and then I'm not going to get the card I want. By taking an additional turn, you can completely flip that script and open up the ability to manipulate the other player almost like in a tic-tac-toe way. You can maneuver your opponent in order to unlock the card that you specifically want. Or just to keep your opponent from getting the card they want. That would just be so devastating because it might give them that military victory or that science victory, keep them from blinding you with science. So anyway, that is a really cool thing, really powerful, very important to pay attention to. So that gives you a feel for the 3 ways that you can use the cards, the 3 ways that the game can end, the different ways that you score points, except for the guilds. So these guild cards are going to give you points based off of whoever has the most of the depicted item, card, coins, or wonders built. So if I have this at the end, as soon as I play it, I'm going to look and see which one of us has the most red cards. Whoever has the most red cards, we're going to count up how many cards that is, and the person who just got this card will get that many coins. At the end of the game, we'll again look and see who has the most red cards. Whoever has the most red cards, count them all up. However many cards it is, that's how many points that card is worth to the owner of that card at the end of the game. So that's the way guilds work. It can give you points for coins, which again would be just like you scored coins. If I had this and you had fewer, and I played the one that gives the guilds, I would get to count basically my coins again. If you had it and I had the most coins, you would get to count my points for coins, and you would get that many as well. So then the last one that's really sort of different is the one for wonders, because there can only be 7 wonders built. So there's 8 here. As soon as someone builds their 4th, that means that their opponent is not going to be able to build their 4th because there can only be 7. There is a guild, though, that says, look and see which player has built the most wonders, because it's possible that neither player builds all 4 of their wonders. Maybe you build 3 and I only build 2, because we're so focused on getting the cards and using them for points. So then if you built it, you would get, because you have the most wonders built at 3, you would get, it says, 2 points for each one of them. So then at the end of the game, like I said, we're going to total up all those points. Whoever has the most points is the winner, unless the game ended prematurely with a military or science victory. And that should give you a pretty rough idea, but a pretty good idea, of how to play Seven Wonders Duel. Things that I like about this game. One, I already liked Seven Wonders, and the two-player variant for that was tolerable. I played it a decent amount, but this just makes it so I personally, I know some people have said, yeah, I still like to play the two-player variant of Seven Wonders. I'll never do it again. I just don't care. This is that much better. Flat out, just going to say it. It's so much better. I love drafting games. They're quick, and this one is just, it's a cool twist on it because rather than kind of have a way to add things to your hand, like you add in Seven Wonders, you would grab a dummy player, one card off its deck, and add to what you're drafting from. Here, the way they kind of change what you have at your disposal every turn is by having that kind of layout that changes what's available every turn for you to draft from. I think that's kind of ingenious, rather than having that deck that you pass back and forth and kind of cards get added to it each time cards are taken out of it. This makes it so you're not passing the cards back and forth, but in essence, the exact same result is happening. You are still passing an available list of cards to your opponent that modifies based off of what you choose. Even more so, you actually have some say on what is going to happen next and what's going to become available next, which is really cool. I love that spatial aspect. I like a lot of games that have spatial aspects to them. I love a game like Five Tribes, Istanbul, some of these games that just have that spatial aspect to it on top of a very, I guess it's not a super Euro mechanism, but it's got that resource management in there too. So really cool. I love that part of the game. Other things I like, it's quick. I love that part of it. It's relatively short. You can sit down. This could be a filler game because you can set it up relatively quick. A lot of games, they don't advertise necessarily the setup time on a box. But this one, it's pretty quick setup. It's not too cumbersome. So you can set it up quickly, play through it quickly. So it can work kind of as a filler game in that way. But it's still a really deep experience for 30 minutes or so of gameplay. I love that. One of my other favorite things about the game is the fact that it has different ways that the game can end. If someone gets that scientific victory or a military victory, it's so interesting that on top of just going for points, you have to be aware of going too heavily one direction or completely neglecting one area of the game. I love the fact that it can end at multiple different points in the game. I just think that's phenomenal. I think it's a great twist, a great wrinkle in the game that makes it so you can't just focus on one aspect, which Seven Wonders, you never could focus on one aspect. I've played plenty of games with Seven Wonders, the original game, and likewise Seven Wonders Duel, that if you go for one aspect of the game and you go whole hog into it, you're usually not going to win unless you get that overwhelming military or science victory. Because if you just miss one of those things, you go that heavily into one aspect of the game, you're usually neglecting so many others that person just kind of gets a little bit of that, a little bit of the other, who kind of puts their fingers in all these pies. That person is going to be the one who wins both Seven Wonders Duel and Seven Wonders. So it's a great re-implementation of the exact feel of that game in a way that's just, it's more interesting to me. So great game in that aspect. Things that I don't like, and this is one thing that kind of ties in with both Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel. A lot of people feel like, oh, it's such a simple game, it's a great gateway game, and maybe it's been that way for some people. I really have had no success using Seven Wonders as a gateway game. People are just generally overwhelmed by, wait, so how do I pay for things? So this resource isn't mine, which resources are mine? Well, none of them. That person can buy them from you. Well, then how do they get confused by a lot of these aspects. It does not work as a gateway game. It's deceptive in that it is very simple for anyone who's played games before, and there might be people who have that mind where they do gravitate towards this and figure it out right away, even though they don't have a background in playing games. But in my experience, it is not a gateway game. So don't go thinking that it's so simple, I can use this with new gamers. In my experience, Seven Wonders, don't do it. I've had plenty of people who I've played it with, and they absolutely hated it with. 1 year later, after they played several other games, they come back to me and go, this game's easy. Why did I think it was so hard? So for whatever reason, I have had very poor success using it as a gateway game. So just don't do it. But if it works for you, cool. So there's always that caveat. But that's super minor. Is that really a dislike, saying it's not a gateway game? Sheesh. It's just a great game. I love it. I struggle to come up with things that I don't like about it. It's a phenomenal game. People who will like it. Anybody who likes quick games. If you like a game that you can pull that thing out, you can have a deep experience in a short amount of time, this is a game for you. People who love two-player games. It's a phenomenal two-player game. I like a lot of two-player games. I love Jaipur. I love Lost Cities. I love Seven Wonders Duel. I've got a stack of two-player games in my game shelf, and I love two-player games. For many, 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 many years, more than a decade, two-player games, not just solely two-player games, but games that I would play with two players, was my bread and butter. That's what I would play 90% of the time, was with two players. So I love two-player games. If you like two-player games, you gotta get Seven Wonders Duel. It's like an essential game at this point. It has become a staple that you've got to have in your collection, if you like two-player games especially. People who will not like this game, there's still a decent amount of luck, so maybe people who like zero-sum games where they can really know exactly what's going to happen. It's just me and you, and it's a true chess match. It captures, for me, so many of the feelings of that chess match with allowing enough of that variability where even if, yes, I know, you're the better player than me, but there's enough of that variability where even though you are the better player, if it was chess, maybe you would win 100% of the time. There's enough variability where it's like, yeah, that just means that you're going to win 65% of the time, 2 out of 3. I've always got that shot. And because of the ability to kind of push for that military or science victory, maybe you would be kicking my butt, but you know what? You neglected this and I made you pay for it. I can jump up and bite you with a military or a science victory. So I love that. So going back, people who like zero-sum games, this may seem enough like it, but not that it's just irksome to you. So take that for what it's worth as well. Other things that people may not like, or people who may not like this game, maybe you just like that super in-depth experience. Maybe you want a thematic experience. To me, this isn't that. Yes, you are building up your civilization. Thematically, that's what's happening. But does it feel like you're building up a civilization? To me, it doesn't. To me, it feels like you're just playing this puzzle like, ooh, this works well with this. Ooh, this works well with this. It's almost like, all right, that's a super lame analogy, but it's sort of like cooking. You're like, oh, yeah, that works with this. Ooh, but this flavor goes with... maybe that's because I was thinking of Sushi Go. I don't know. Which is, if you want to get people into gaming, that's a better gateway game than this. But it captures a lot of similar feel. Shh. Let's set that aside for later, for another date. But if you like those in-depth experiences, super deep, super thematic, this is not going to be the game for you. It just doesn't do those things. There are things that are just phenomenally well, and for me, I'm much more mechanics-based in my preferences than theme-based. Theme is the icing on a cake, and you know what? There's a lot of cakes that I don't like icing. It's got to be a certain kind of icing. That's me, both as a person who likes cake and as a person who is a gamer. There are things I want a solid mechanical foundation, and then, yeah, I'll tolerate the appropriate amount and correct quality of theme of that icing on top to make it look good, that window dressing and all that kind of stuff. It's got to be secondary. It is not the primary focus for me, but for a lot of people, it's the other way around. Nothing wrong with that, but this may, because of that, you might feel like, well, I'm not building up a city. This isn't a wonder. Why do I have 4 of them? Why do you have it? There's going to be a lot of things that you might just not get thematically if it's important to you. So to me, in my opinion, a lot of those things are nitpicky. So am I going to recommend this game? Yeah, I am. Just unabashedly, it's a great game. Go buy it. Go play it first if you're leery. Find a game store that does demos. Find a local game cafe, lending library, friend who's got it. Something, give it a try. Trust me, it's a great game. It's not going to be for everything, because nothing is, or for everyone, because nothing is. But for my money, this is something that should be in pretty much everybody's collection. All right, hopefully you got a little bit of a better feel for Seven Wonders Duel and whether you might like it or maybe you won't. But either way, I want to thank you so much for watching. If I have missed anything or if there's anything that you want to add to the discussion, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to have some dialogue with you and get to know your opinions on this game. If you have any other videos that you would like me to produce, please let me know as well in the comment section below. And if you want to know how to set up and play through Seven Wonders Duel, or you want to know where to buy Seven Wonders Duel, look in the description section for a link to macronovagames.com and a link to my other videos for Seven Wonders Duel. Until next time, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and as always, have a wonderful day.